Hey everyone, this is Alexis Wallstrom and this is my UI observation presentation on Apple Maps. So to go over the features that I'll be using in Apple Maps, I'm using my iPhone 11. I'm going to give a small breakdown of just what all you'll find in Apple Maps first, and then I'm going to go back through and talk about the specific features. So first off, you're going to see that your app is right here, Apple Maps. When you click it and enter it, the first thing you're going to see is the map itself, and in the middle there's going to be a blue flashing dot to show your location. As you scroll down, you'll see there is an area for searching. You have a favorite section, a collection section, and a recently viewed section. This can all be brought back down to go back to your map at any time. If you click here, it's going to give you an info section, so showing traffic, if you want your location marked, adding a missing place, or reporting issues. You have an option for transit as well, and then a satellite view of your map. If you exit out of here, you can also go here and it will automatically bring you back to wherever you are. So if you scroll away and need to come back to your location, you will push that. So now I'm going to start going over the features. Before you open the app, you'll see the app icon. It says Maps below it, as well as having an image of the map. So let's head into Apple Maps. When you first come to your homepage, you're going to see a little flashing place icon that's going to show you where you are located on the map. This map also has the option to zoom out and zoom in, so you can see a large area of the map, or you can zoom in really close to where you are or the area around you. So below your main map area, you have a search area. Here you can be as specific as you want with an address, or type something like restaurants. By doing this, it'll bring up all of the restaurants around you. You could do this for other things like gas stations, hospitals, the list goes on. Another option you can use when searching is doing a search by another city. Let's say you were planning to travel somewhere and you wanted to pick a place near where you were staying to eat. You could type in restaurants in whatever city or state you were traveling to. Under the search bar, there's also an area called Search Nearby. It is a variety of options you can choose from, and by clicking on the option, it'll show you all of whatever category you pick that is near you. For instance, let's go ahead and click on gas stations. Once clicking on it, you'll see that all of the gas stations in my area show up. If you slide down, exiting your search area, you have the option of adding favorites. For me, I have my home, my husband's office, and my daughter's school and dance studio. You'll see at the end of your favorites there's also an add button. By clicking this, you can then search whatever you are wanting to add or type in a specific address. Looking at my places, you'll see depending on what place it is, it has a corresponding icon. Under favorites, you have the option for collections. I haven't utilized this section as much, but it's used to create groups and places that you like to go and put them in as your favorites. So maybe favorite restaurants, grocery stores, shops, etc. You can use this by adding a new collection. You'll create a title and hit done. After this, when you click on the restaurant collection again that I've just created, it'll give you the option to start adding places. Lastly, you'll see an area in Recently Viewed. This section is where you're able to look through all of the places and the travel locations that you've gone to recently. By clicking them, it will start a navigation to whichever place you have chosen. Let's go for a ride. First, you'll start by typing in an address, clicking a favorite, or whichever other option I've mentioned before that you prefer. So for me, I'm headed to the grocery store, so I'm just going to type in groceries. The closest one to me is a Food Lion. Once you click on this option that you're wishing to go to, it'll become highlighted on a map and a direction button will appear. Once you've clicked on the directions option, it'll show you different ways to get to your location. It gives the lengths of time to get there, and it automatically will highlight the fastest route in a darker color from the other options. Starting your navigation, you'll see a map showing you where to go. At the top of the page, there are printed directions, and it could have the next direction to come if it's a short distance away from where you're starting. Across the bottom, you'll have your arrival time, how long it takes to get there, and the mileage. There's also an option to end the navigation if you need to. Another option you'll see here is Share ETA. By clicking on this, you're going to be given a list of people that you recently talked to. You can also choose to go to your contacts to pick someone from there, and it will share your ETA to that place. As you start to drive, the top text will change and tell you your next steps as the bottom adjusts as you get closer and closer to where you're going. While traveling with Apple Maps, when you come to stop signs or stoplights, it now has small images of both so you can see when they're coming up and be prepared to stop when necessary. Post navigation in Apple Maps, you'll also have Siri conducting you on where to go, when to turn, and how close you are getting to those turns and places. One of the last options I'm going to go over is the option to pick your type of transportation. You have the option of driving, walking, transit, or rides. So here I have the transportation options laid out on what they would look like when you click on them for your screen. So the first one I have is driving, which I've gone over, having the navigation as well as where you're going, the length of time, and then the options at the bottom. The next one for walking, the length of time is going to be longer because you are walking, and it normally only gives you about one route depending on how many sidewalks are available in the area. Then there's the option of transit. In my area, they don't have public transit close to where I am, so as it says, they aren't available, as well as with your ride sharing or doing that kind of thing, that's not available in this area either. So again, it has the directions not available option on mine. Another really great feature that you can use with Apple Maps is its compatibility to the Apple Watch as well as Apple CarPlay. For your Apple Watch, when you are running your navigation, it will also show on your Apple Watch, and as you're driving and directions become closer, it will start to buzz so you know that you are about to have some form of direction happening. In newer cars that have Apple CarPlay, you are going to have the option for your Apple navigation to be visible on the screen in your car. I use this daily and it makes me super comfortable when having my children in the car because then I'm not having to focus on my phone and I'm focusing on the road around me. For both of these, the interface pretty much stays the same. It is similar to that of your phone on your other devices, that it's going to look almost exactly the same. Whereas with the watch, it's only going to be giving you the direction portion. It's not going to be giving you the full map, but it does buzz you when you need to have that change in navigation. Whereas the Apple CarPlay, you are looking at the exact same map that you would be looking at if you were looking at your phone. So as far as the ease of use, personally, I prefer Apple Maps to other navigation systems. It is easily understandable interface, and overall the directions are simple and prominent, so when you're driving, you're not distracted. There are some cons to Apple Maps. It gives less detailed accounts on what's to come in areas such as speed limit changes or if there's construction, and it doesn't always update the fastest route when you're driving. It doesn't have an obvious warning system for accidents ahead of you until you're close to the accident, and originally it had a bad reputation when it was first released and it not being accurate, so it gives users worry if they chose to use it at first and haven't experienced Apple Maps as it is now. Apple Maps does have a lot of pros though. It's easy color-coded navigation for areas of traffic. It also has types of stores around you that are also color-coded and have icons to show what type of business they are. It's easier to understand user interface. It has a better user experience as a usability standpoint, and it's easier to add favorites and complete daily actions. New updates to include traffic lights and traffic signs allow the user to fully understand their route. Integration with Apple Watch also allows the user feedback on their wrist when their directions are changing. And the overall directions are simple and prominent, so when you're driving, you're focused on driving and staying safe. So that was my presentation on Apple Maps. Thank you so much for listening.